Hi everyone, welcome to this week's dance class. So today we're looking at another Roald Dahl book, and this one is Matilda. She's so brilliant. She's one of my heroes, really. It's about a little girl who is very, very, very clever, and she also has magical powers, and we are going to look at those magical powers and see how she uses them to get rid of her horrible head teacher. What a brilliant idea for a story. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be making some dances about it and looking at her character. Like all the Roald Dahl books, they're just so brilliant. So if you've read it, that's brilliant. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. We're just going to be going through it today. So let's do a warm-up. Come into the space with me. And I thought we'll do a really fun, silly warm-up today. So we're going to do musical statues. And I'm going to put on some music. And you can make statues of whatever you like today. So you can do high levels, you can do low levels, you can do middle levels, you can do a twisty shape, you can do a pin shape, you can do a ball shape, you can do a wall shape, whatever you like. If you're with someone else, that'd be lovely. You can make shapes together. If you're on your own like me, we can make shapes on our own, that's fine, but you have to be really, really still. So you have to be super, super still, super frozen. You're made of marble, concrete, wood, something that's absolutely still. Okay, so I'm going to put on some music. Ready? Let's go. Have a little jump around. Let's warm up. Here we go. Okay, keep jumping, keep jumping. Here we go. And freeze. Anything you like. Hold, hold. Are your eyes frozen? Are your feet frozen? Everything? Good. Keep going. Yeah, right. Really jump around. Get that heart going. Try not to whack anything. Good. Ready? Okay. Hold. Try something different this time. So if you're on a low level, try a high level. Freeze. Have you frozen? Well done. Okay. Go for a little jog around your space. Well done. Okay, last one. Something different again. Well done. Freeze. Okay. Good. Okay, catch your breath. Well done. Right, good little warm up there. The next warm up we're going to do is we're going to do something a bit more static. So we're going to stand on the spot, and we've done this one before, but I think you're really good at it. So we're going to stand with our feet in parallel. We're going to shake our arms up in the air. Do you remember for 8? So we're going to get 8 shakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in front, 8 below, and 8 to the side. Then we're going to chop it in half, and we're going to go 4 counts, 4 counts, 4 counts, and 4 counts. Good. Chop that in half is very good. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Chop that in half. This is fast. 1, 1, 1, 1. And we're going to do that again. 1, 1, 1, 1. Good, so this is really good. We're going to keep our legs really straight, our tummy's really strong, so we're not going to wibble wobble all over the place. Okay, so this is our arms, our shoulders and our backs, nice and strong. Okay, so I'm going to put some music on because that'll help us with the beat and the counts for this one. So, let's go. Okay, so feet rooted to the floor, super strong. Here we go, our arms up. 8, 4, 2, 1. Here we go. Arms up. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Really flick. Good. Down. 5, 6. Side. 1, 2, 3. Pause. 1. 1. 1. 1. 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Ooh, did that twice. Let's do ones. 1, 1 again. 1, 1, 1, 1. Wow. Do you know, not. I'm sure that's getting faster and faster. Good, so we'll keep practicing that one, and then when you can do it up to speed, it's really fun. Good, so I hope your heart's going a bit, that blood's going around your body, so we can work our muscles. So, let's look at Miss Matilda. So let's have a look at her first. I've got all my page markers for you. So this is Matilda here. Here she is. And she really, really loves reading. And I'm just going to read you a little bit from the book so you can get a feel for who she is and her character and her family. So, occasionally one comes across parents who take the opposite line, who show no interest at all in their children. And these, of course, were far worse than the doting ones. Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood were two such parents. They had a son called Michael and a daughter called Matilda, and the parents looked upon Matilda in particular as nothing more than a scab. A scab is something that you have to put up with until time comes when you can pick it off and flick it away. Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood looked forward enormously to the time when they could pick their little daughter off and flick her away, preferably into the next country or even further than that. It's bad enough when parents treat ordinary children as though they were scabs and bunions, but it becomes somehow a lot worse when the child in question is extraordinarily brilliant, and I mean sensitive and brilliant. Matilda was both of these things, but above all she was brilliant. Okay, her mind was so nimble, she was so quick to learn that her ability should have been obvious to the most half-witted of parents. But Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood were both so gormless and so wrapped up in their own silly little lives that they failed to notice anything unusual about their daughter. To tell the truth, I doubt they would even have noticed if she crawled into the house with a broken leg. So they're terrible parents, aren't they? By the time she was 3, so I'm going to go from here, Matilda had taught herself to read by studying newspapers and magazines. They lay around the house. At the age of 4, she could read fast and well, and she naturally began hankering after books. The only book in the whole of this enlightened household was something called Easy Cooking, belonging to her mother, and when she had read this from cover to cover, she had learnt all the recipes by heart. She decided she wanted something more interesting. So that's pretty impressive, isn't she? So she reads and reads and reads, and what happens is she ends up going to the library all by herself, because her parents won't send her to school. And she gets a library card and she goes every day and she reads and reads and reads. And the more she reads, the more she loves reading. She loves the stories and all of it. So I thought as a little first phrase that we do is we do a phrase about reading and about books and about opening up and turning pages. So I thought what we could do is start standing. So go back into the space. Okay, we're going to start with our arms out wide. I'm going to pretend we are a book. So we're showing that we're a book. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in a big star wide shape. We're going to bring our arm across and we're going to open the page. 1, 2, like that. So our legs are staying still, but our arm is going to go 1, 2. And then what we're going to do is do exactly the same thing, but we're going to lie on the floor. So we're lying on the floor on a different level. I'm going to bring our arm across and open, across and open. Good, so we are those books that Matilda is reading. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. We're just going to start standing. 1, 2, big, big, big shape. Lie on our backs. 1, 2. Good. So, can you remember that? Because we're going to need that later. Okay, so you can come and sit down. I'm going to read you a little bit more. So she was really, really clever and she ended up going to school. She did end up going to school and she met a lovely teacher called Miss Honey. I'm just going to show you a picture. So she's in school and what happens is Miss Honey is her teacher and she needs to go and talk to Miss Trunchbull about how brilliant Matilda is, and this is what happens. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the head teacher now. So normally, Miss Honey was terrified of the headmistress and kept well away from her, but at this moment she felt ready to take on anybody. She knocked on the door of her dreaded private study. Enter, boomed the deep and dangerous voice of Miss Trunchbull. Miss Honey went in. Now, most head teachers are chosen because they possess a number of fine qualities. They understand children and they have the children's best interests at heart. They're sympathetic, they're fair, and they're deeply interested in education. Miss Trunchbull possessed none of these qualities, and however she got her present job was a mystery. She was above all the most formidable female. She had once been a famous athlete, and even now, the muscles were still clearly in evidence. You could see them in the bull neck, in the big shoulders, in the thick arms and the sinewy wrists, and in the powerful legs. Looking at her, you got the feeling that this was someone who could bend iron bars and tear telephone directories in half. Her face, I'm afraid, was neither a thing of beauty nor a joy forever. She had an obstinate chin and a cruel mouth and small arrogant eyes. Oh my goodness, so she really wasn't a very nice person. And look, if we turn the page, there we go, we can see, that's a better picture. Look, we can see her. So she was really terrifying, and she did lots and lots of terrible things to children. So she would lock them in a cupboard. She would lock them in somewhere called the chokey, which was very dark and horrible, and they didn't like that, obviously. And she would just pick on small children. Now, once a week, she would go into Matilda's class and teach Matilda. And they didn't like her at all. And one day, one of the little girls in Matilda's class thought it would be a funny idea to put a newt in her glass of water that she always had on her desk. So they put the newt in the glass, or they put the newt in the jug in the water, actually, and as she poured the water out, the newt fell into her glass. And what happened is the Trunchbull was about to drink it, but she saw the newt just in time. And what happened is she blamed it on Matilda. Now, Matilda had been a very good girl. She went to school and she worked hard, but she didn't like being blamed for something. So she started yelling at Matilda, saying, "You put this in my water, you did it." And she says, "I'm telling you, I did not do it," said Matilda, screamed. "I have never even seen a creature like that in my life." And this made Matilda very, very angry. And something began to happen. So let me read what happened. The Trunchbull was sitting behind a teacher's table, staring with a mixture of horror and fascination at the newt wriggling in the glass. Matilda's eyes were also riveted on the glass, and now slowly began to creep over Matilda a most extraordinary and peculiar feeling. The feeling was mostly in the eyes, a kind of electricity that seemed to be gathering inside them. A sense of power was brewing in those eyes of hers. A feeling of great strength was settling itself deep inside her eyes. But there was also another feeling. It was something else altogether, and which she could not understand. It was like flashes of lightning. Little waves of lightning seemed to be flashing out of her eyes. Her eyeballs were beginning to get hot as though vast energy was building up somewhere inside them. It was an amazing sensation. She kept her eyes steadily on the glass, and now the power was concentrating itself in one of the small parts of each of her eyes and growing stronger and stronger. It felt as though millions of tiny little invisible arms were, little arms with hands on them were shooting out of her eyes towards the glass she was staring at. "Tip it," Matilda whispered. "Tip it over." And guess what happened? That's right, she tipped the glass over and it went all over the Trunchbull. And this is where Matilda discovers that she has these amazing powers. And throughout the rest of the book, she uses these powers, and she goes on and she helps get rid of the Trunchbull, who's just such a terrible person. She helps Miss Honey, and it's all a very, very good ending. It's such a long book and I can't go through it all today. So what I thought we'd do is we'd focused on the book, the book phrase that we did. We're now going to focus on the magic and the Trunchbull. So I thought we could make a dance about those two things. So Matilda has got these magic powers. So I thought what we could do is come back into the space. Okay, so we've got these magic powers. So what she's going to do is we're imagining, she said, these long arms coming out of her eyes. She's imagining this power and this strength and this electricity, but she's very calm about it. So what we're going to do is start on the floor, and we're going to rise up higher and higher and higher. We're going to bring our arms right up as though we're bringing in energy up from the floor, and see if you can balance on your toes like this. Exactly. Okay, if you need to hold on to something, you can. So we're going to rise up Good. From here, I want you to imagine that you're drawing a square with your eyes. So we're going to go across and down and down and up. So it's like we're sort of controlling something with our eyes. Cross, down, down and up. Good. Now in dance, it's good to use lots of big movements, and that really uses one way to use our body. But we can also use very small movements as well. So we're just going to use our eyes, just like Matilda. I'm going to keep very still. We're going to turn our head and look down to the floor. And I want you to imagine an object. And we're going to move that object just with our eyes, like Matilda did. So I'm imagining a ball, but it could be anything you like. It could be a feather, or it could be a glass of water with a newt in it, like Matilda. So I'm going to look down, and I'm going to go flick. And I'm going to imagine it flying across the room. So look down, and all I'm going to do is move it with my eyes, my head. So try that. Okay, look down. It's on the floor, it's down there beside you. You're going to look and you're going to flick. And it's going to flick away right into the distance. So we've got our square. 1, 2, 3, 4. We look down and we go flick. Good. So that's our magic phrase. The next one we're going to do is the trunch ball. So she was an athlete, so she was really big, very, very strong, but she's pretty mean and miserable. So we're going to start in a big, round, muscly shape like this. I want you to show me your biggest, grouchiest face. Don't like children face. There we go. And what we're going to do is we are going to pretend she used to throw the discus, which is like a sort of plate shape. And I don't know if you've seen people do this, but they have huge power. They spin around and then they throw it for a really, really long way, meters and meters. So we're going to start off in our trunch ball shape, and then we're going to plant one foot there, and we're going to step around that foot. Okay, and we're going to pretend we're holding the discus in our hands. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do it again. Spin, we're building up, we're building up. And when we come to here, we're going to throw. So you can imagine throwing something miles and miles and miles. And in the story, I think she throws a child. But we're definitely not doing that. So we're going to throw something right over there. Okay, so we've got our trunch ball shape. Grumpy, awful. And I'm going to step around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throw. Good, into the distance. We're then going to go back to our trunch ball shape, and we're going to tip. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want you to balance. And on the last one, at the end of the story, Matilda scares her so much with her magic that she's using that actually she runs away and she hides. So that's what we're going to do. So it's like we're tipping over the trunch ball, we're tipping her over, we're winning, and we're going to beat her. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do a few to get that feeling. So balance, we're going to tuck that leg in. You're going to roll down and you're going to hide. Good. Okay, so we're going to hide from the magic because she can't cope with it at all. So that's a lot to remember, isn't it? So let's go from the beginning. We're going to try our book phrase. So we're starting off as our book. We're going to go open. And open, lie on our backs, and open, good, open, well done. From here, we're going to lift up, balance, so you're lifting up the energy, the electricity, good. From here, we're going to draw the square, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to look down, and we're going to flick our eyes, and move that object, good. We're then going to be the trunch ball. We're going to go round, 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 and throw. Good. And then we're going to go tip, tip, tip. And on this one, whoa, balance. We're going to roll and hide. Good. Okay, so we have our book phrase, we have our magic phrase, and we have our trunch ball phrase. So what I want you to do is, you can pause this and you can wind me back, and then we can have another practice of all of those different phrases. Okay, or if you want to, you can try with music with me now. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, here we go. How did you get on? I hope that was okay. We're going to do it once more, but again this time I want you to think about your performance. We've talked about this before. So what I mean by that is when we're stretching, I want you to really think about stretching. Make every single movement really big, really exaggerated, so you're putting all your energy. You can hear I'm quite out of breath. Even though this isn't fast movement, I try and put all my energy into every single movement. So even if you're quite still, you can still be moving because we're still stretching. Okay, so on the tips, really hold, really concentrate, see if you can balance. On the roll, you can actually make that quite a fast roll, can't we? So we can roll, and then hold that in position so you're really still. So you're really putting as much energy into the performance as you can. So let's do it once more. So we'll do the book, the magic, and then the trunchbull phrase. Okay, here we go. Good, how did you get on? Well done, I hope you're out of breath. But I hope that's because you put lots of energy into your dance. Well done. Good, so Matilda's such a brilliant book. It's a quite a long book. So if you can read it with an adult, do. We couldn't sort of get through all of the things that are in the book because it's such a long story. I could do about 3 or 4 lessons on Matilda, but hopefully that's given you a little taster for it. So do you want to come to the space? We'll do a very quick little cool down. Okay, so thinking about the book, can we just do a wide open book? Okay, really stretch. See if you can touch this wall and this wall at the same time. So you're feeling that real stretch. Good. Okay, can we very slowly move the arm across, twist the top upper body and open. Good. Again. Move the arm across and open. So we're doing the same movement. Try it on the other side, but we're just going nice and slowly. Good. So we're just calming everything down. So from a very wide open shape, can we come to a very narrow shape? Okay, and can we slowly curl down into a ball and wrap your arms around, small as you can. Good. Can you put your hands down and rock forward and rock back and rock forward and rock back and gently stand up. Good. And gently roll up all the way through, stretching out our backs. Good. Give your shoulders a little shake. Give your hips a little shake. Leg, leg, arms. Well done. Good. Well, thank you for dancing with me today. I really enjoyed learning and teaching Matilda. It was brilliant to read the book again. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time. Thank you.